Hello and welcome to this week's hot topic. This week's hot topic, we're going to be looking at what a positive learning culture in the workplace looks like. And the reason we're doing this, it stems from a lesson that I've just taught, which is around my level 7 senior leaders. And I was reading it thinking, oh, actually, this is really a good hot topic because ultimately we talk about recruitment and retention. We talk about toxic workforce. We talk about reward and recognition and all this stuff. And actually, something we all do and we all do all of the time is teaching and learning. So whether that teaching and learning through inductions, whether it's through online stuff, what we need is we need it from an organizational level where we're all on the same page. So it's a behavior in which we all understand. It's part of our visions and values because we want it embedded. And we want everyone that joins our organization to understand the importance of continual learning and that culture within the organization. And really, there's been a load of studies in the last 5 or so many years. We know Skills for Care want us to do it. We know CQC encourage us to do it. But why is a learning culture really important? Well, a learning culture impacts all areas of your business, from productivity to retention. And in fact, recent studies have shown that focusing on a culture of learning increases job satisfaction by 84%, which is massive, really, compared to 16% for those in a worse performing company. And 94% of employees said that investment in training and development is one of the main reasons that they would stay with an employer. So the problem is, it's not the fact that we don't do it in health and social care. In some ways, maybe we do too much of it because we have so many hurdles to get through. But it's that culture, isn't it? It's that culture of showing why we do it and then the value behind it. So what I'm going to give you is my top 20 tips for creating a learning culture within the workplace. And hopefully by doing this, you'll build a stronger learning culture within the organization for your employees, and will have a better understanding of our values, practices, beliefs within work. So number one, the first thing that you need to do is examine your current learning strategy. And what do I mean by that? Is you need to do a gap analysis, find out where your strengths are, look at some of your weaknesses, and look at how you can explore them and bridge some of this together. Number two, then, plan what you need and what your employees need to learn. So don't just go, oh, I think this is a good idea, but really have the value behind what it is that you're trying to achieve. And therefore, if you get the buy-in from the staff, they understand the value of it, and then they understand what they're going to learn. And it goes back to WIFM, what's in it for me? If people understand what's in it for them, that'll empower them. Number three, empower subject matter experts to create learning. And we're doing that via the United Care Network, where we have created our care champions. So by creating those subject matter experts, you're empowering people to drill into the bits that they really want to learn. And that'll boost confidence, it'll boost productivity, and it'll pick up morale. Or ask the staff what they would like to learn. So send out a survey. Look, staff, you're the ones on the front line. Rather than us leading from here, what is it you want to learn? What is it you feel we should be doing? Maybe they'll say, look, we've got it all. We're happy with everything. But actually, they may come up with some really useful things to help them progress. 5, make training easily accessible. And again, it's understanding that people do have this, we all have lives. And one of the benefits of our network is the fact that if you miss an opportunity in your home, you'll be able to do it in other places and other locations, just because you couldn't attend that day to day. So having that flexibility where it becomes enjoyable and not a burden is definitely the way to go. But equally, the format, so having it on your phone, having it on the desktop, having it a bit paper-based, having it face-to-face. So number 6 is ensure learning is the top priority from day one. So within your statements of purposes, within your job descriptions, within your interview questions, within your job descriptions, make sure learning plays a key feature, and celebrate that learning. So again, have a reward and recognition system there. Try and set time aside for people to learn. And this one obviously is difficult because obviously needs the business and social care, but try and set some time. And even if that's experiential learning, so reflective practice, so you're on the job doing something and you need time to learn, do that. Number 8, experiment with different learning methods. So we know we all have our own way of learning, and we're great at person-centered care plans, and we're great at personalization. And this is really what learning is. Learning is very much a personal journey. And I remember school wasn't for me until I came into vocational learning. And vocational learning, I flew because I found my lane. So when you find somebody's lane, they're going to soar. Number 9, create a library of resources. So again, if you join our United Network, you're going to have access to over 200 books that we've written. You'll have access to nearly, I don't know, it's 20 or training programs, all your other stuff. And all of that's on the website, creating a wealth of knowledge and a portal for everything, so people can just access it and do that micro learning, that bit as they need to. Integrate learning in your day-to-day life. So everything needs to be a learning opportunity. So if we do handover, what did we learn? What worked? What didn't work? What can we improve on? Okay, why do we do that? Great. How do we do that? What are we going to do differently next time? And just creating those opportunities. So let's say, for example, we do handover and we've got somebody with diabetes. Right, everyone. By the end of today, I want us all to know what the normal sugar ranges are. Let's pop something up on a board. Let's try and make it a bit more fun. Number 11, let's make it social. So have you got within your platforms an area where they can network and talk and collaborate and share ideas? Making learning fun is a great way of getting learning through. Whenever I go out and I teach practical skills, high energy, high impact, lots of fun. And by doing that, people want to attend your class. They want to participate because they know they're going to take something from that. Number 13, promote learning in whatever you can do. So every single thing as a manager or a mentor, or as a supervisor or as a leader, rather than talking about what's on the TV and what are you doing at the weekend, let's talk about this patient, about what's going on with them. Why do we think that's happening? How can we research that? How can we be responsible for our own personal development? Number 14, make knowledge sharing a habit. So in your handovers, get somebody to participate, even if it's a bite-sized piece of information in each handover. Think of all those handovers that you would attend, and each time you attend, you learn something new. That's a great way of spoon-feeding all of this knowledge into us. Number 15, make learning on demand. So have that accessibility piece. So as we've tried to do, we've got our VLE, our virtual learning environment. We're doing these videos so people can just watch them as they're going on. We're trying to make it so it can fit in to the everyday norms. We're not being static and saying, look, everyone's going to attend a class on this session. We know it just doesn't work. It causes so many problems. Reward employees for learning, and that hasn't got to be about pay, but that could be recognition and certificates and some kind of, I don't know, chart or something, just something to recognize that level of achievement. What we did in my last company, we bought a badge machine, these tiny little badges, and we made badges for lots of different things for the lanyard. And it was great. Everyone wanted the new badge because it showed that they'd done it. Number 17, keep it continuous. So when you start this journey, you've got to keep it going, and momentum is key. Because the moment you take the foot off the brakes, people go, oh, what's the point? And that might be, we've got an update of policies and procedures. We've got a newsletter this week. We've got a new patient, whatever it is, let's keep it going. Link in leadership skills. So everything that we do, we need to think about the levels. So it's really useful for people to understand leadership processes. So from ground up, just a little bit of knowledge about, so you guys need this, but for a leader, this is what we've got to be doing. But this is why we're asking for it. We're not asking you because we want you to do this. We're asking you because CQC says for it to be well led, it needs to be this. For it to be safe, it needs to be this. Feedback is really important. So of course, feedback after training is important, whether that be online or not, but continual feedback. So feedback around your recruitment, your learning and development strategy, your culture for learning strategy. Let's get some feedback on that. So you could say, do we feel that we've got a learning culture? Great, let's get that out there and see what they are. And then finally, from that feedback, top tip number 20 is measure and adapt those results based on feedback. So let's just run through that in a bit more detail. So number 1, examine your current learning strategies, find out learning gaps and weaknesses. I'm sure you're all doing it, but there's formal and informal. There are better ways that you can do it. We can learn from ourselves, we can learn from others. So just examine what your current strategy is. Identify those weaknesses, identify those gaps. Really research this. 2, plan what you need and what your employers need. So making sure that the training is relevant and that you're not making them learn unnecessary things, but it feels fun and relevant and contemporary to their actual role. Empower subject matter experts, do those care champion trainers, do the train champion stuff, get people outside their comfort zone, push them, being creative with the material. And again, not being afraid to challenge your training providers or the people delivering your training to adapt it to meet this new high energy level in which you're looking for. Ask the staff what they want to learn. Making them involved in the planning is fundamental to what it is that you need to be doing. Make sure it's accessible. Make sure people can get it. Ensure it is your top priority from beginning of the service, so job descriptions, etc., all the way through. Try and set some time aside, even if it's a couple of hours a week, where we are able to do this reflection and learn and do all the stuff that we're meant to be doing. If something's gone terribly wrong, let's have a debrief session. If something's gone really well, let's have a debrief session. That's all on the job learning. And really try to break that stereotype about what learning is, because most people, when you ask them in an audit, do you do training? They go, no. And when we say to people, well, was you inducted? Yes. Did somebody go through policy and procedures with you? Yes. Do you do debriefs? Yes. Well, that's all informal learning. So really trying to get them to understand what formal and informal learning is. Have fun with what you're doing. Try different things. Look at micro-learning as a new way forward. So YouTube videos, blended learning, webinars, lots of short stuff that just sticks. Create those resources. Get those links in. There's loads of stuff that's free out there. There's loads of stuff on Skills for Care. There's loads of stuff on higher education in England. It hasn't got to be, I'm waiting for my employer to tell me. We can lead our own journeys and destinies there. Integrate learning in every part of what we're doing. Make people reflective practitioners. Really build this culture of reflection. Make it social. When something's gone well, stick it on social media. When you're trying to find an answer to something, send it out to the group and say, look, we've got a new patient who's got type 1 diabetes. What do you think this means to everyone? And get people just to talk about it. Make, like we said, learning fun. Have some leaderboard system. Have a way trying to break it, but there are lots of stuff out there that do gamification. So there's a platform called Learn Upon or something like that, and they have leaderboards where you can track stuff and you get points. But again, you can just have your own staff notice board where you recognise all of those people that have done it. So not shaming people that haven't, but celebrating those that have. It's almost a positive behaviour support model. Promote learning, unleash the inner marketer within you. Show your organisation as a fun place to learn. Be one of those top 84% companies which are going to keep and retain their staff, because that's one of the key reasons people come to you. Remove that glass ceiling effect. Make it a habit around knowledge sharing. So if somebody knows something, share it. If you've got a new patient with maybe a new condition, find the information out and share it. Make it on demand, get as much as you can. Again, as managers, I used to do a hot topics video for my staff on a weekly basis and just send it out via WhatsApp to my team. And yeah, they were only half an hour, 20 minutes long, but enough just to get them engaged. Reward that, keep it continuous, keep on top of that, link it to what you're doing and why you're doing it, so people understand why we're doing it. Why have I got to do the care certificate? You're doing it because in Mid Staffordshire, loads of people died unnecessarily, and Robert Francis William QC said we need to do better. Why have I got to do English, maths and digital skills? Because people were dying unnecessarily because the carers couldn't work out the rates. Why have we got to do, I don't know, why is there bath taps or why do we have radiator guards in care homes? Well, we have it because there was a lady called Rose who stuck to a radiator and she died of third-degree burns. So find the facts behind stuff. So we're not just saying to people do it, but they understand why. Give that feedback, make sure that we're being inclusive and promoting and we're doing that praise sandwich, and measure your success. So look at where you're starting to look at where you're going and build your learning strategy around that, because ultimately what we want to achieve is a culture of learning. And to create a learning culture in a workplace, it takes a strategy, it takes vision, it takes time. And for it to be embedded and for the staff to behave in a way that demonstrates learning culture, you've got to put some work behind it, because a learning culture isn't, we'll do our online VLE, we all have our one-to-ones, but it's the energy behind it and the real lessons learned behind learning. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's hot topic, all about learning cultures, and I will see you next week. So again, this was a micro session. Take care. Bye for now.